I'm a really bad singer, actually.
You don't ever sing on the show, do you?
No, I have a really bad singing voice.
Well, so do I. That hasn't stopped me.
Ugh, I know. I'm tone deaf. Like, the only time that I sing, and I sing my fucking heart out when I'm in the car by myself.
Hmm.
Like, I'm sure that people who pass me on the road think it looks like I'm shouting because I just get so into the music. And I'll just
Yeah.
be having my own mini concert in the car, but I have to turn the music up loud enough that I can't hear myself
Hmm.
because I hate the way I sound when I sing. It's
I
bad.
I just turn it up because that's my in-ear monitor.
Mm.
Hi, Mariana.
Hi.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like how you
Okay,
jumped when you noticed your camera was on.
I haven't hung out with anyone outside of work in a long time.
Oh.
Like on Google, not in like hanging
Oh,
out.
I
I was
was
gonna
like,
say me too,
we
but
just hung out yesterday.
No, yes. This whole like technology shouldn't be like a real surprise to me, but like I've only Skyped for the majority of my life, so this is still new to me.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have graduated to Google Hangouts because
Swipe.
Skype or no swiping. Skype has not been very reliable in recent years.
Yeah, same here. I call my grandparents in Russia all the time, and we can't hear each other most of the time. I'm like, isn't it 2018? Isn't this time to get better at this, guys? But cool.
So, you can turn your camera off. We don't turn
Yeah.
ours on because it's distracting.
Also, because we record on my work from home day, I'm straight up not camera ready ever.
Oh yeah, I wasn't. I literally just showered 10 minutes ago because I was like, oh shit, will they want to see my face?
Oh, well, at
I'm glad
least
you
you
know.
showered today. I didn't.
Oh,
Ew.
Laura, I'm so proud of you.
Don't you feel like shit if you don't shower?
No, because my thing is like I'm gonna do my workout after the show, and I don't see the point in
Oh.
showering before that.
I'm with you there. I don't shower until I work out, but I
Right.
usually work out in the middle of the day, not the end.
Yeah. Well, I don't have such luxuries.
I know.
Can't do such things.
Mariana, how am I pronouncing your name?
Um,
Mariana?
Mariana. You can pronounce it
Mariana.
any way you want. In Russian, it's Mariana, but we're steering away from being Russian these days, and we'll talk about that later. So Mariana is just fine.
Okay.
As long as you don't go super
Mariana.
southern with it and be like Mariana.
Yeah, then I'll be fine. Which has happened a lot, and I make sure to correct only those people.
I can see why you do voiceover work. You do have a very nice voice.
Oh, thank you. I'm just getting warmed up.
And this is just my post shower voice. Wait until I'm
man.
dried off.
All right, getting
Pam, are
sexy
you there?
already.
Sorry, I walked away.
Oh, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure your mic was...
I'm here. I walked away to let the dog out, and then I came
Okay.
back. So
Who?
Oh, Lord.
what?
You said
Let the dogs
let
out.
the dog out.
Oh, a dog,
Yeah.
not the dogs.
Andrew's living in the year 2000 right now.
That was, I think I said it on the show, the first song that I ever torrented. Torrented.
I'm sure that's why the Baja men are no longer in business.
Speaking of torrenting, just real quick, I admit I torrent still, and I torrent movies sometimes. I'm happy to rent them on Apple, but because it's cheaper than buying them on Apple. But sometimes it takes way too long for a movie to be available for rent. For example, the hit motion picture Book Club. Have you heard about that one?
Oh, my friend's in that.
Yeah.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
So it's about a bunch of old women who make 50 Shades of Grey their book club pick of the month. It's insane. And anyway, it wasn't available for rent, so I BitTorrented it. But minutes after completing the BitTorrent, I got an email from Comcast saying, "Hey, you have violated the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. We see what you downloaded. Don't do it again." It's like, wow, high tech.
I had a
So-
similar experience too. Well, I just never screen grab anything when you're watching Amazon because they shut you down, which I was really surprised to find out.
Really?
Wow.
What?
Yeah, I mean, good for them. They'll figure it out. But I was like, how did you do this? I feel like you're living in my computer.
Yeah, that's weird. I've definitely done that before for like news stories and stuff, though. And
Yeah,
they've
well,
never
Amazon
said
Prime
anything.
is on top of it.
That's why
Wow.
Bezos
I
is
wonder
so
if it's just
rich.
going to my junk mailbox.
Were you gonna admit to something, Laura? It sounds like you were.
If I was, I've since forgotten.
Sure.
What it was.
How convenient.
I know. I would do very well testifying to special counsel Robert Mueller. I just pull a Jeff Sessions and be like, I do not recall.
Oh.
Laura, did you torrent book club? I do not recall. If I forgot, it's because it was so bad. I erased it from my memory.
Kind of like 50 Shades of Grey.
Mm-hmm. Well, the funny thing about this movie is that 50 Shades of Grey actually encourages all 4 of the women to get their lives together.
Oh, wow.
So what, they
Yeah.
have like a sexual awakening and they get into BDSM and
Well, not the BDSM part, but they do realize that they should still be having sex at their older ages and dating as well. So one of them tries to spice up their sex life again with their husband, and then the other 3 are trying to rekindle old flames or find new ones altogether.
Is this like a Nancy Meyers movie?
I guess so. Yeah, I'd say that.
That's kind of nice that, like a lot of times older actors and actresses don't really have a lot of opportunities to shine in fun roles. So it's kind of nice that she's keeping that door open. She always does those movies about like, your second wind at life and stuff.
I thought you just meant Nancy Meyers type movie. It is not by Nancy Meyers.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, taking a page out of her book, I think.
Yeah. Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, and Mary Steenburgen.
okay, I'm not gonna lie, I love Jane Fonda.
I love
Yeah.
Candice Bergen.
Yeah.
Has anyone here ever watched Grace and Frankie?
Yeah.
Oh
my
my
parents
god.
love that show, but they're not
I-
even old enough to watch it.
I know, neither am I, but I love it.
Well, I mean, it is edgy for like an older
It
crowd,
is.
which is great.
Yeah.
Those vibrators they made were very interesting.
You know why I can't continue watching that? I hate all the kids on that show. They're just so annoying to me.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah.
That's how our grandparents see us. They just look at us and they're like, ugh, well, you kind of suck, but I guess I have a biological imperative to be kind to you.
My grandparents love me. I don't know what's wrong with yours.
Yeah, my grandparents love me too.
That's a long discussion.
Granted, mine are across the globe and they're very lonely, so they think they're forced to love me from afar just because they have nothing else to love. It's very sad.
Oh man,
Aw.
you're lucky you're geographically far away. My grandparents are like, why don't you come visit us more?
Oh,
All
I
the
wish I
time.
could visit them more. I really do. I mean, as we grow older and as they grow older, you definitely feel the passing of time and how family is important. And the last 10 years that I've avoided them, I kind of regret.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. You don't realize what you have till it's gone.
So
Oh my God.
sage and wise.
All
Mhm.
right, this is sad.
But is it going to change you? Of course not. You're still not going to go see him.
Well, it costs like $1,000 and maybe 10 days of
Oh,
vacation.
yikes.
So, we'll see what happens. I got to book some stuff and go to Russia.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mariana, I think you know how to record, so I'm not going to give you a lesson there. But-
Well, in Google, so should I record in Google Hangouts? Like,
No.
okay,
No. So use like QuickTime
okay.
or
I also have Twisted Wave that I use.
whatever you use to record your voice that you're comfortable with using is fine.
Okay, cool. Let's do Twisted Wave. I'll just start now.
Yeah, go ahead. And Lauren, Pam, you start now too.
Okie doke.
Twisted Wave. I'm looking at this now. Looks like Audacity.
Yeah, it's like a version of this kind of software that I was recommended by the SAG-AFTRA Conservatory, which is our actor union. I don't know why, maybe they had like struck a deal with them or something, but it's treated me really well. I love it. It's just
Okay.
very simple. It's broken down. It's like not as fancy as Audacity, but it's just easy to use and does what I need it to do.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I have in the doc, I don't know if you read the small part at the top, but just make sure your headphone volume is lowish because we don't want our voices being picked up in your mic.
Yes, for sure. Doing that now. I
Yeah.
did get fancy new headphones for my birthday, so hopefully they're
Ooh.
not noisy.
To keep the noise in.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, Mariana just celebrated her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm one more year away from making. I can only have one more year left to make bad decisions, and then I have to get my shit together. Is what I'm looking at.
What does that mean? You're
It's a lot of
29?
pressure.
Maybe like working towards like a more serious career, but no,
Yeah.
like that's the pressure and the feeling you have. But I'm not necessarily gonna do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I
We all
tell
say we're
myself
going
that
in
to.
the
too.
depths of my core. Every year I get older, I'm just like, should I just like quit and get a real desk job? Should I keep?
Oh, don't do that.
What do you do now?
I have full-time freelance entertainment news.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's hard.
Yeah, I hear that for sure.
All right. Well, let's start.
Yeah. Mariana, what we'll do for intros is the three of us will introduce ourselves, and then after Pam says her name, I will introduce you.
Okay.
Okay.
And we are streaming live, just so you know, so I might reference that from time to time. Like on our Patreon.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Okay, sounds good. For some reason, I thought we'd already been recording, and you guys are just we've already been in the podcast. So
Well, we are recording this too, and this will also be released on Patreon.
okay, cool.
Nothing is kept a secret.
No.
Good to know now.
But it's not
Listen
part
to
of like
that.
the main show.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Not out in the
Bonus.
wild.
Shit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so everybody's recording?
Yep.
Okay. Anna, you're good?
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
People are stupid. Live to tape.
Welcome to Millennial 433. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
I'm Pamela.
And joining us this week is actress and creator Mariana Novak. Mariana, thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. It's so good to be here. But just in the space with you.
Aw.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Laura and Mariana, also two IRL friends. Isn't that right?
It's true.
It
That's
became
so
official yesterday when we had drinks together.
Yes, on the
Ooh.
Beltline.
Ooh.
Fun fact, actually, after we met up, we went out with our boyfriends as well. And Mark was like, I approve of Mariana as a friend for you. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm glad that you do. Didn't know
But
that
it
I
still
needed
means
your
a lot.
approval.
I knew that you liked me, but it's nice to know that he does too.
Right.
That actually that can be important. Not that it's necessary, but it's good to hear that
Yeah.
other people like your friends as well, your significant other especially.
It was fun times.
And
I wanna do it
Mariana, do
again.
you feel the same way about Mark?
Oh, 100%. I
Okay.
knew that I felt that way from the moment I met him for like 5 minutes the first time when I did. Like, yeah.
It took me like 2 hours, but I did eventually come around to him.
Yeah, he's all right.
We approve, Laura. We approve.
So we do have some stuff to talk to Mariana about a little later today. We'll learn about her and it'll explain why she's on the show. But we'll shoot the shit for a few minutes first. We do have to start with some sad news. We lost Senator John McCain over the weekend. He had been battling brain cancer for about a year now. And he had announced, I guess that was late last week, that he was stopping treatment for his cancer. And as you may have guessed, that was John McCain deciding now, I think is the time to go. So he did. And it's really sad. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, right? This was a great politician, maybe one of the last truly great ones, especially on the Republican side.
Yeah. I will admit that I was out at a bar when I heard the news, and then I went home and started watching the coverage and got a little emotional, actually. And of course, part of that is because it was truly sad what happened. You feel a lot of sympathy for the family, and how difficult this time must be for them. But I was also mourning what I saw to be like the last sane Republican in existence. I was like, well, they're all gone now.
Hmm.
There are none left. And, you of course end up dreading like, who are they going to get to replace him?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, Trump botched this whole process. There was drama on Monday about lowering the flag too early, and then he raised the flag again. He also shied away from issuing a statement. It's amazing how many self-inflicted wounds he gives himself time and time again.
It's kind of just amazing that nobody on his team tells him to suck it up and just do it.
Yeah, because he can't
That's what
suck it up.
constantly surprises me, though.
Yeah.
You know?
So Trump was pissed at him for a couple of reasons. I mean, this wasn't a reason to be pissed at him, but Trump has said on the campaign trail multiple times he doesn't consider John McCain a hero because he got captured, which is just abhorrent, an abhorrent thing to say. And then also with the big healthcare debate late last year, Trump or McCain downvoted it, literally put his thumb down. That was one of the most iconic moments in the Senate ever, I think, as that was caught on camera in the 11th hour. That was probably my favorite McCain memory.
Yeah, I
Another
think
team?
one of my favorites is one that came towards the end. Um, Apparently, he requested prior to his death that he be eulogized by Barack Obama and George W. Bush, and also that he would rather Trump not attend his funeral.
Yeah.
And I was like, nice, man.
Yeah. And based on the reaction we've seen from Trump, I'm not sure Trump would have even wanted to go.
No.
So, rest in peace, John McCain. One of the last great Republicans out there. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was so sad, Laura. It's just, in this day and age, it was nice to see him standing up against Trump. Now, some would argue it was because he wasn't going to run again. But still, he
Yeah.
did.
I mean, listen, John McCain, in my opinion, he fucked up quite a bit. And he basically admitted that. There's more recent footage in the later years of his life where he said that there have been times in this country's history where it probably would have been better served without some of the decisions that he made. Sarah Palin. But at least he was man enough to own up to those choices. And it left you with this feeling, right, that you would never have a doubt that this person loved his country, right? So
Mhm.
like, was he an imperfect, flawed human? Yes, absolutely. But he loved his country. He was a patriot.
Yeah. And
And
served
that's
it.
a sentiment. Yeah, it's a sentiment that we're not seeing out of Washington right now.
Exactly. John McCain, I give you a thumbs up. Rest in peace. See what I did there? Because he did a thumbs down.
Yeah.
So I'm giving
We all got it.
thought is appropriate tribute. Anyway, we have some happier news from Georgia.
Yeah, so everyone might remember my tirade from last week's episode about Randolph County attempting to close down 7 of its 9 polling places in response to the ACLU threatening to sue the Board of Elections in Randolph County and also massive public pressure. They decided to back off on that particular plan. So that's not happening anymore, which means that all of the polling places will remain open in Randolph County, granting many, 55% of the county is Black. So granting many of its minority constituents the easy ability to reach their polling places and vote this November.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And you were one of those people who fought back.
I mean, we have a relatively small audience. I don't know if you can credit me with that. I think it's more the ACLU.
Yeah, but pat yourself on the
anything.
back, Laura. You were one of the people who contributed. We the people.
All right.
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable with that, but okay.
More good news for Laura. It's a great week for Laura. I have been reading today that the pumpkin spice latte is officially back as of August 28th.
Yes.
Laura, are you going to the midnight release party?
You know, if they had one, I might actually go just for the spectacle of it. I would envision that it would be a bunch of blonde girls in yoga pants and Ugg boots, which would
Yeah.
make me want to vomit, but it would also be just like a sight to behold.
Uh-huh.
I will say this is good for me because today I found out that I have a vitamin D deficiency
Oh.
and PSLs have a lot of dairy in them. You know, they're very milk heavy. So dairy helps with that. So I'm just going to be like, well, my doctor says I have to have one of these a day for my vitamin D deficiency.
I actually
Wow.
learned that a few years ago that the actual syrup they use also has dairy. So that's just like a little note for all of you fellow lactose intolerant people. I think I can get away with having like a cup of dairy if I wanted to, so it doesn't affect me. But if you're like super sensitive, maybe stay away from that.
I'm just hearing lots of good news for Laura right now.
I know. Mariana, will
More
you come with
pumpkin
me
spice for you.
to the Bucks to get my first PSL of the season?
Laura, I was just about to say this is another reason why we're truly meant to be, because I too love PSLs and I have yet to admit it to anybody in public. And I'm just I feel like blessed right now because yes, I will join you for the midnight release and every day thereafter whenever you want one.
This is great. This is a millennial exclusive, everyone.
100%.
I'm not alone.
Mariana, your voice level just got a lot lower.
Okay, hold on.
Did you do something or?
I may have. Is this better?
A little bit. Yeah.
How about now?
That's much better.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, Laura, here, I just loaded up this song. Let's hear a little bit of this real
Hey, yo,
quick.
what up? We got a little PSA for you. A pumpkin spice announcement. You know what it is. Put your rugs on, bitch. Let's do this.
It's fall, bitch! You know what that means! Pumpkin spice motherfuckers, we're the PSL queens! Freaking out the phone, singing Don't Stop Believing, dog filters on, bitch, shit, I can't fucking even! Screenshot my Snapchat, showing off my back tag, double fisted PSLs on my yoga mat! Oh, bitch, you fucking know me, lady! I deflate these PSLs like my name is Tom Brady! 6 vintage!
Double fisting PSLs on my yoga mat.
Oh, that's going to be me.
And me.
I really hope you're blasting that as you roll up to the Starbucks
Oh.
drive-thru.
Please do that.
Man, we are going to be like the ultimate white girls.
Yeah,
We
hell
should dress
yeah.
up.
We should dress up.
Yeah.
Full on Uggs.
Yeah, Uggs,
Yeah.
yoga pants, like blousey, loose tops.
Back
Put our hair
tat.
up in a messy
Louis
bun.
Vuitton, but it'll be fake.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
bring Canella with you so you can have, the best accessory.
Put her in a
little
bag.
dog.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
put her in
true.
a bag.
She hates people though, so I don't think that would go well.
Oh, you two have a lot in common.
Yeah, we do.
I thought when I loaded that up, it was going to be that song we played last year, which went like PSL, PSL, da 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 PSL. Do you remember that?
Yes, and this was way better.
Please tell me there's a music video that goes along with this.
Oh
because
yeah, there was.
Oh my god, I need it.
I'll put it in the show notes of this week's episode. It's Guys in Wigs. It was fantastic. Speaking of video, I just wanted to mention a couple of weeks ago we had Mark on and we were talking about streaming and how it's a profitable business. And I had joked that I'm going to do Sims Play Sims. I did end up doing that over the weekend on Patreon, and you can check out the videos there. It was a bit of a mess because it was my first time streaming, but I enjoyed it. There are 2 separate videos because my computer crashed like 3 times during the process. I guess it was just too much for my computer to handle, the Sims and streaming. And I was making my 2 Sim characters, Andrew and Patrick, have sex per the request of one of our listeners back. So maybe it just got too hot to handle for my computer. Anyway, that is on Patreon now. And maybe I'll do it again sometime. I don't know.
When you play The Sims, do you ever get like really violent with your Sims? Like, I haven't played in a long time, but I remember when I was younger, like 12, and I would do like really fucked up shit, like let them get in the pool and then take out the pool ladder, or like put them in a room with no doors
Yeah.
and then like let the house burn. Like I would do a lot of weird stuff. It's
Yeah.
kind of amazing that I'm not a serial killer.
You use that experience to like work that all out offline,
Exactly.
like online. Yeah.
I would do the house burning from time to time. I think I probably did the pool drowning as well once or twice. That can be fun. There's just so much to do in these newer Sims games that you're less bored, so you don't have to do stuff like that. And maybe I'll make this a recommendation for people. If you ever want to play The Sims, but you want to do it for cheap, at least on the Mac App Store, they have the Sims 2 Super Collection. And this is The Sims plus 5 expansion packs and 3 stuff packs, all for $30. And it's been upgraded, so it's like high-res graphics. It seems like a great way to play The Sims, but not get overwhelmed by everything The Sims has. And it's cheap. So I actually might buy this and then start streaming this next because it might be a lot more fun. Sometimes The Sims is just overwhelming. Anyway, we're going to talk with Mariana in a second, but first it's time to hear from one of our newer sponsors, not to be confused with Potter. They are Harry's. I love Harry's. I depend on Harry's. They make shaving an enjoyable experience. That's why I've been using them loyally for a couple of years now. They've got the whole shaving process covered. Harry's offers high-quality razor blades and other fantastic grooming products at a very fair price. I love them because they give me a close shave, a comfortable glide, and a reliable product. I love their shaving handles, and I know that sounds weird, but they've got some weight to them. They feel good to hold. And I love their story. Harry's founders were fed up with overpaying for expensive razors with unnecessary features. They knew a great shave comes down to great blades made with sharp, durable steel that lasts. That's why they bought a factory that's been making some of the highest quality blades in the world for over 95 years. These are 5-blade razors, so you get a really close shave. And this isn't a bougie company. These guys want to appeal to the masses. And they do that by selling directly to you over the internet. Harry's can offer their blades at a price much lower than the leading brand, just $2 per blade compared to $4 or more. And you know they believe in their product because they have a quality guarantee. If you don't like the shave, no problem. Let them know. You'll get a full refund. I want you to try this, and I want you to get the Harry's trial sets. You're going to love them and then switch, and you're never going to go elsewhere, just like me. For $13, you'll get that weighted handle, a 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, a rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover, which is important so you don't tear up your stuff in your travel bag. Listeners of our show can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/millennial. Make sure you go to harrys.com/millennial to redeem your offer and let them know I sent you to help support the show. Thanks.
Buy Harry's and you won't be Harry.
Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't they think of that?
I don't know. I feel like I should be making some serious bucks off that tagline.
I think so too.
Harry's, hit me up. I need money.
Charge $3 per razor blade because that tagline's so good.
All right. Well, Mariana, now it's time for you to shine. We wanted to do a little mini interview with you today, and just kind of talk about your background, what it is that got you into acting and producing. So first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, all that good stuff.
Well, born and raised in Russia, moved to America like 20 years ago, stayed in California the last almost 20 years, and then just recently moved to Atlanta a year ago, mostly for the burgeoning film and TV scene. Yet I also have a day job, which is where, how I know Laura, and I'm working on auditioning and creating my own content at this time. And things have been going really well. So that's a little bit about me, I guess, in a nutshell.
Cool. And what got you into acting and voiceover work?
My
What was
parent-
the impetus?
That's a great question. It's hard to answer, but my parents met in theater school. And so I like to say that it's kind of a disease that's been in my blood forever. Most of like the first half of my life, both of my parents kind of like made sure that I didn't even ever think about going into the arts. They tried to convince me to go into something more practical. And I truly used to believe with my whole heart that the only thing I could be in life was a doctor or a lawyer, especially since, I'm a Russian immigrant and that's basically the extent of our options. So I ended up going to finish pre-med, did human biology as a major, Spanish minor, and ended up going into the tech workforce randomly and very quickly decided that this was for me. And I've always wanted to explore this creative side of me that I had just pushed off to the wayside. And I did theater in middle school and high school and college, but I never thought I could make an actual career out of it because I never truly believed in myself. So one day I just cracked. And it was really just like a big emotional outburst. And my stepdad at the time was just like, "What do you need to go do? I've never seen the side of you. It looked like you were just on this clear-cut path to success in some way in the tech or medicine field." And with their support, with my parents' support, I just like moved to LA and started from scratch and spent the last 5 years before I moved to Atlanta just figuring it all out. So I did everything from auditioning for short films that nobody will ever see, to casting projects, to producing projects, to just working on sets anytime I could get a chance to, even managing actors at one point, which was just a really dumb idea because, running your own career is difficult enough. And then running the careers of like 10 other failed actors is just a little harder too. So it was like an unconventional way of getting there, but it all happened kind of also naturally and just felt right once I finally settled into it and started believing myself and started booking, real television and commercial work.
Mm.
Awesome.
Did you move to Atlanta because you said because of the growing TV and film production, but did you think it would be easier in Atlanta just because there's not as much competition?
Yeah, that's mainly why. The industry here is huge, and obviously there's not as many actors here as there are in LA, although people are moving here every day. I mean, it's crazy. All
Mm.
my friends in LA always reach back. Once they see something that I've booked, they're like, "Wow, should I move to Atlanta too?" And I'm like, "Well, it depends. It's definitely a slower pace of life in comparison to LA, but the opportunities for somebody at my level are incredible. Like I would never be on the shows that I've now been on here if I had stayed in LA, or at least it would have taken a lot longer."
Yeah. I lived in LA for 9 years and I just saw it going nowhere good. So
Yeah, and it's a
I
pretty
had to get
depressing
out.
place, right?
Yeah, it is overwhelming. I think that was very smart to move to Atlanta to continue pursuing your career.
Yeah, and it's been great, and I think at the end of the day, I definitely wanna go back to LA because that's where really that's, the mecca of it all, and you have to kind of go back there eventually. But for this portion of my life, I've been enjoying experiencing a new place, especially the South, which I never thought I would end up in, especially as a Russian or just like a full-time California girl.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I felt my brain just literally just expanding and exploding in my mind, even as on my road trip here across the country. And it's just been doing that ever since, which is the greatest feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of things that you've booked since you've been here. Is there anything that you're allowed to talk about at this point? If not, it's
Um,
okay.
oh yeah, no. So I have a small little role coming out on Netflix for the Ozark show with Jason Bateman, and that's coming out on the
Ooh.
31st. It's a really small part, but in the grand scheme of things, that is my bizarre career. It's a pretty big deal for me.
Well, I love that show, so I'm gonna
Me
keep an eye out for you.
too.
Oh, good. I'm so excited. Today, actually, they posted like an Instagram story introducing my character, and my heart sank into my
Really?
stomach. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's really cool. It's not like a full on intro. It's mostly like the moment that happens right before you see my character.
Uh-huh.
And there's been so many times where I've either been on like a really big pilot or a big TV show, excited that I finally booked the role, and then you get cut out. You just like end up
Yeah.
on the editor's floor, not because you're bad, but just because they don't have the time for you or for your one line. So it's nice to know that in this case, I'm not going to be forgotten.
You're solidified on Netflix.
Yep.
Now, speaking of that, I do want to come back to a small clip from a bit that you did before, but I did want to ask, you and I have talked a lot about the pros and cons of breaking into showbiz as a woman in particular. So what are some of the things you've learned that might surprise people about that?
I don't know if this is surprising, but don't go to auditions in hotel rooms or apartments. Definitely did that. And after the Harvey Weinstein stuff came out, I'm like, yep, been there, kind of like have experienced that, definitely learned my
Oh.
lesson, and I wish I knew better. Like, and I'm a fairly like intelligent person, I think, and I still went to those hotels and apartments. Luckily, nothing too bad happened, but that's one thing to learn. Also, I think going into it, most of what I do is running a small business, and the small business is me. So I wish I had come into the knowing or had taken classes that were business focused in college instead of, chemistry that I obviously don't use anymore. Same thing goes with creating your own content, which is like the clip that you're about to show is something that I've created just on my own terms, and maybe having a bit of background in filmmaking earlier on because I just started experimenting with it all at 23, 24, which is really pretty late. So that's one thing I was surprised to find out. Like, really, your career is in your hands. It's your job to put yourself out there, to create content, to have yourself seen, and learn everything you can about the industry. Which is why, I did casting and producing and managing, and that's just enriched my business acumen as an actor.
So
Mm.
do you manage yourself or do you have like an agent that helps you find these auditions? Because I feel like also having lived in LA and meeting people that are in this process, a lot of them always just kind of talk about how they're waiting for their agents to be proactive and send them roles. But it kind of sounds to me like you're doing a lot of that groundwork yourself, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, when it comes to auditioning for, stuff like Ozark or any other big thing out there, you have to have an agent. There's no way that those opportunities are going to be available to you if you don't have the right representation. When it comes to people waiting for their agents to get them something, it's true at the end of the day, agencies like UTA and CA, the big guys, are the ones that get those jobs first. And the little agencies, especially in LA, there's like 300 of them. They don't get as much work, and they don't get as much, they don't get their actors in the room as easily. So when it comes to agents, yeah, I have one in LA, I have one in Atlanta, I have one in New York, I have a manager here, I have a manager in Australia who like does like everything in terms of submitting me. But yeah, at the end of the day, like sometimes it doesn't make a difference, and you really have to push yourself out in the world and have people remember you before those casting directors are gonna be like, oh yeah, so and so manager sent me Mariana, and I remember her from this thing that she did. Like, she looks like she's an influencer, which I'm not, by the way. We can get into that later. But yeah, these influencers are just getting seen more than the average Joe who could be just as talented, but just doesn't create his own content or doesn't have as many
Mm.
followers or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, speaking of content creation, Andrew, can we go ahead and play that clip?
In Russia, we have proverb: if he beats you, he loves you. So, contrary to popular belief, romance is not dead, even if 14,000 women are. And if you still have doubts,
The increasingly powerful Russian Orthodox Church is also in favor. It is said that criminalizing domestic violence contradicts moral and family values in Russian culture.
there you go! If 380 parliament members is not enough to convince you, and if Putin doesn't tickle your poos, the truth from God himself.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah,
When I-
that was. Sorry, go
When
ahead.
I watched this, I didn't know that you were from Russia. Is this like, did you have to recreate your Russian accent? Did you have one growing up?
I think I moved to the threshold where I started learning English at an early enough age where my accent wasn't as profound, so I never had to work on getting rid of it. But I go out for Russian stuff all the time. Like some of my first TV work is always like, oh, the Russian girl, or the Russian prostitute, or the Russian spy, obviously. And it's a niche, and unfortunately, I don't wanna be known as, like, the girl with an accent or the girl that can do an accent, but it's definitely a way to have gotten myself into the door in certain cases.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, on that note, being that we discuss a lot of politics on the show, we do have to ask, what's it like for your home country to be under so much scrutiny by Americans?
This is a really it's a I was thinking about this a lot, especially since we talked about it yesterday too, Laura. As much as I'm grateful for my beautiful childhood that I had in Russia and how that experience added to my personality, worldview, and like just work as an actor, I do have a hard time accepting baseline Russian politics. Like aside from this election meddling business, like their disregard of basic human rights for prisoners, women, and like the LGBTQ community, like it's not something that I can just like be like, oh well, that's just my country. It bothers me, and it makes me super grateful that I was allowed to stay in America and live my life here and be educated here, and my life would definitely be completely and utterly different from what it is today, and definitely worse because, people have it worse in Russia in general. And I feel more American these days, but my heart still hurts when I see Russia in a negative light, solely because I still identify as partially Russian anyway. You have to. I'm grateful, but this has been going on for a long time. Every single like James Bond movie you'll ever see, or any movie in the last 40 years, Russians are always the bad guys, and now it's just like a more common thing because we really are the bad guys, and it's like real, not just make believe. And I just wish people knew the Russia that I know, like a place that celebrates really beautiful things like art and music and family and nature. And the people I know, the Russians are really kind and hospitable, incredibly fun people. To like have them portrayed in such a negative light is just like saying that all Americans are like Trump, right? It's such a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
But that's how people perceive it. And unfortunately, I wish I could do something about that, and maybe I will. I am working on a project that kind of conveys this, like puts Russians in a better light, in a narrative pilot that I've written with a friend. But you know,
I gotta say though, it's kind of funny to hear you say that when you release a video like the one we just played.
well, yeah, of course, my of course, it's a journey, right? The first video in that series that you'll see. It's just me with my friend, like shooting the shit, improving, like how Russian girls are these like slutty money grabbing whores, basically. And it was just a joke. And from there, we wanted to like just make fun of being Russian. And then I was like, wait, this is an opportunity to have a political dialogue in like a Stephen Colbert esque way.
Mm.
And then yeah, but that was like 2 years ago, so things have definitely changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about voiceover. I think people often see voiceover as like a dream gig. Like people think about it like, oh, you get to work from home, you get to be in your pajamas, and it comes across to people as easy. Is that true?
No, of course not. If it was easy, then everyone would do it. But it's a very clicky, very small group of people that are actually full-time voiceover artists. Like I've been lucky enough to get a bunch of voiceover work, but now that I'm in Atlanta where there's less opportunities, I'm not going to be pushing myself out there as a voiceover artist. Let's say, just imagine the fact that since everyone can do it from their pajamas as long as they have a microphone and a quiet place in their house, like the competition for voice acting is trifold that of like on camera personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making it like a side gig like I have is definitely not the way to do it. It's definitely a full-time job, and people that do it spend a lot of hours in front of a microphone alone in their house, straining their voice, like reading. It's like I know you guys probably enjoy reading, but imagine reading out loud for hours at a time if you're doing an audiobook. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, if you're in it and you can make a career out of it, it's definitely like quote unquote like a pretty sweet gig, but it's really hard to get there.
Yeah. Have you done audiobooks?
Yeah, I did some audiobooks, shorter versions of audiobooks, like booklets.
Okay.
But it's just something that I've never fully got into because I have all these other things that I'm working on. But whenever I
Yeah.
have the opportunity to do it, I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult an audiobook would be. I was thinking more like a quick commercial spot or something like that, where you're just like, come to Bill's Auto Shop today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty sweet, right? I've done that before, and you walk into a recording studio, spend an hour there, and you make $800, and it looks, oh my gosh, you made $800 off 1 hour. But how often am I going to really get those gigs, right? And
Right.
that's where what comes into the equation.
Unless you're the movie trailer guy, there's a lot more work involved.
Yeah, for sure.
In a world.
Oh, R.I.P. He's dead.
Oh.
Oh,
Who took his place? Maybe that can be you.
Oh well, I don't know. We're not that progressive in voiceover land yet.
True.
and just to kind of wrap us up on a light note, are there any juicy stories from life in the acting scene that you'd want to share with us?
Juicy stories. I mean, the last thing that was juicy that happened to me was definitely after I shot Ozark and Jason Bateman was directing, and he was just the nicest human being you could ever imagine, and that energy permeated through the whole the whole set. And at the end of my time there, he came up to me to say goodbye, and I got very emotional because I really love the show, and I kind of like winced. I was like, "Thanks so much for having me. This is my favorite show." And I started crying, and it was so embarrassing. I couldn't control it. And he was so sweet. He tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "Oh, there. It's okay." He wasn't sure what to do, and I was just like, "Just go, just go. It's fine. I'm fine." And he was just like backed away slowly, but he was very, very sweet about it. That was the last juicy Hollywood thing that happened to me. So
That's funny.
I've been home a while.
That's pretty good, though.
It's pretty good.
I gotta say, Jason Bateman, I do enjoy him as an actor. Like I said, I like Ozark, but oh my god, I swear he plays the same character on every show or movie. It's always this. He's not playing a character. He's just Jason Bateman,
And it works, right? It's got him
Right.
this
It
far.
does.
Yeah, there's a need for Jason Bateman in Hollywood, evidently.
We're all Jason Bateman at the end of the day, really.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like in Ozark, he does this thing where like he's still Jason Bateman, but he's like a dark version
Yeah, I
of
totally
Jason
agree.
Bateman.
Well,
And it
yeah, I mean
works.
that's the plot.
He's still kind of funny at some moments.
Yeah, exactly. It's like dark humor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
You do,
That's
by
good
the way,
stuff.
have a great voice, Mariana.
Oh, thank you.
I can see why you were
Likewise.
voiceover. Oh, thank you. Well, I dabble in podcasting, so developed this over the years in a world.
Yeah, next thing we know, Andrew's gonna just start trying to poach Mariana, get her on the show.
Laura's replacement.
That's right.
I thought
I
you were
am
going to
not
say he was going to
nearly-
leave us high and dry and quit for a life of glitzy voiceover.
In pajamas, all the glitz and glamour from your
exactly.
bedroom.
I would never get anything done. I would be tripping over my words too much. I mean, you see me sometimes on this show. I run amok.
That's
Yeah,
what
we all
editing's
do.
for.
Yeah, that is what editing's for. And then I spend 80 hours fixing myself. But I leave everybody else's mistakes, so I look perfect.
What a jerk.
I'm kidding.
So, Mariana, if our listeners want to follow you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I guess I'm pretty active on Instagram. You can find me at it's Mariana Novak. Because
That's an easy
Mariana
one.
Novak was taken. There's a lot of Mariana Novaks in Brazil. It's very weird.
Interesting. I didn't know that Novak was a common Brazilian surname.
Yep. It's not even my real name. I thought it was like making up a cool one, but not at all.
I have one more question. It does sound like you've been driven and to pursue this career. It sounds like you are in it for the long haul, for good. Are you settled on that now? Like you're gonna do this till the day you die?
I am. Luckily, this profession is everyone needs an actor at any age, right? There's roles, although like less roles for older women. They're still out there. somebody will need me to play like a pharmaceutical ad grandma one day, and I just have faith in that I will book that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like it. And I like how you said earlier that you just had this realization that I need to quit my normal job and pursue this.
I will. That comes with a caveat, though. I think a lot of people do that, which is beautiful. But I think a true support system you can't do without. I can't imagine moving to LA without the support of my parents in that way.
Yeah.
It's a tough life, tough business, and you want to quit every other day, and then something good happens, and you feel like you're on top of the world, and
Mhm.
you get offset, and you're just back to normal life and your day job.
By the way, do you have an accountant?
I do not. Should I
Okay.
get one?
Well, you mentioned like doing the business side of things, and I was trying to do
Yes.
that by myself for a while, and that got really bad in the way of like fees and stuff because things weren't being filed because California wouldn't tell me that they had to be filed, and I didn't know,
Oh.
stuff like that. And I got an accountant, and it was life changing. So I
My
would
dad's
recommend
my
that.
accountant. He's like
Oh, there
the
you go.
smartest
Aw.
finance man ever, and he just controls all my finances sometimes to an nth degree that I don't like, but he's smart as hell, and he keeps my taxes in order.
Oh, good. That's good. You're okay. So in a way, you do have an accountant.
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought of it that way, but now I do.
Anybody out there looking to do a business on their own, please get an accountant. Don't be like me.
Hire
There-
Mariana's dad.
There you go.
Yes. Or if you want to buy a house, he does that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a mortgage broker
I will have to keep that in mind.
In California?
in California.
I'll have to keep that in mind. Thank
Okay.
you.
He's a
I
cool
thought you were
dude.
never coming back.
Well, I said LA.
Okay.
Yeah, not California. I'm not done with, but LA. I'm done with. Watch a year later. Hey, everybody! I'm moving to LA.
Yeah.
I just missed it so much. I missed the crushing traffic, the high prices, the potential for a major earthquake that's going to wipe out half the city,
That's all of
Pollution.
California, buddy.
pollution.
If you do it, I never want to hear you bitch about it again.
Oh, I'm definitely done with LA. I do love California. Anyway, let's move on to some news.
All right. Getting into some news, we have to cover the story that had every person on this panel highly aroused last week. I mean, I'm at least speaking for myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the walls are closing in around President Trump as the Mueller investigation made several major developments. First off, Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is facing life in prison after being found guilty on 8 counts of fraud and lying to the FBI. To be fair, this conviction is not directly related to Trump or the campaign. However, Manafort was found guilty of hiding millions of dollars in foreign bank accounts and lying to banks repeatedly to obtain millions of dollars in loans, according to the New York Times. While this is not directly related to Mueller's inquiry of Russian interference in the 2016 election, it was the first test of the special prosecutor's ability to prosecute a Trump ally amidst Trump's naysaying of the Mueller investigation. Now, that was all pretty cool,
I'm at
but
half staff right now. Can you give me any more?
I'm going. We're going to get you to full mass, baby.
Oh yeah. All
But
right.
the really fun part caught us all by surprise on the same day when Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal attorney and fixer, pled guilty to a number of charges, including violating campaign finance law. He also implicated Trump and said that he had violated the law, quote, at the direction and in coordination with Trump.
Yes.
Now, this goes back to a number of stories involving the president allegedly paying out hush money to a couple of women, most notably Stormy Daniels. Trump has long denied that any such payment occurred, though his narrative has evolved as more and more evidence has stacked up that a payment was indeed made. Further, the prosecution alleged that Cohen made the payments on Trump's behalf and was then reimbursed by the Trump organization, which, if true, is very, very illegal because paying someone hush money in order to benefit a candidate for federal office would count as an illegal campaign contribution. But wait, there's more.
Yes.
National Enquirer owner David Pecker and Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg were granted immunity by the FBI. Now, to break that down for the lock her up crowd, when the FBI grants you immunity, it's because they think you have something to offer related to their investigations. Both Pecker and Weisselberg have clear ties to Trump, so it doesn't feel like much of a leap to speculate that they were granted immunity in exchange for dirt on Trump or Cohen or both. And just a fun fact for all of you listening at home, the National Enquirer has a literal safe containing details of dirt on Trump. That's not fake news.
Oh God.
It's real.
I just came 3 times while you were talking.
So it feels like we're simultaneously circling the drain, but we're also burdened with the knowledge that the current Congress would never impeach this motherfucker. So what do y'all think? Are midterms our only hope?
Yes, I still think none of the Republicans will want to impeach him. So hopefully this will motivate the left. And we still have to see. I mean, Mueller's not done yet. It is fascinating that this started as a Russian collusion investigation and has turned into something involving porn stars. And this is all because Donald Trump couldn't keep his dick in his pants while he was with Melania, by the way. It's just crazy. And for months now, I've been sitting here giggling like a schoolgirl. Oh my God, he went and fucked a porn star. Ha ha ha. And Laura's been like, well, I really don't care about his personal life unless it involves illegal campaign contributions. And that
Ding,
is
ding, ding.
ended up what happening, and in a big way with Michael Cohen's admission.
Yeah, this has just been fascinating to watch because it's like when it first started, Trump was like, no, I don't even know Stormy Daniels. And then it like eventually turned into, well, I didn't know about the payment.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, yeah, you did.
Right. And
Asked
we
for it.
also can't forget that Cohen released that tape between him and Trump. So that proves that Trump knew. And we'll see what else Weisselberg and Pecker have to reveal. I mean,
that name.
It's just stunning how many people turn on him. And I read this good analysis piece the other day pointing out that Trump is so obsessed with himself, he can't understand why other people would actually go against him. He truly thinks that the world revolves around him. And his fatal mistake has been trusting people to do awful things.
After Cohen flipped, Trump went on Twitter, which, by the way, everything he tweets is admissible. Like, it's all part of the investigation. And was like, if you're ever going to hire a lawyer, I definitely don't recommend Michael Cohen.
That was funny. You got to give him credit for that one.
I mean, it was funny, but it's also funny because so you're admitting that this is all true. Right? Like, it's a low-key admission of like, yeah, I did something shitty and I wanted my attorney to keep it quiet and he didn't.
I think his point only was that this guy will turn on you, not that he did something bad necessarily. Though,
or that he's a liar like everybody else that dares speak out against him.
Yeah.
Right. It is funny how only a few months ago he had high praise for Cohen on Twitter, well documented on Twitter. And I think there were some tweets in which Trump was like, after the raid at Cohen's office, Trump was like, there is no way Cohen would flip. There is no way. I have nothing to hide. And then he goes and flips.
Yeah, well, and it was funny because originally they were like best friends. And then when it started looking like things were shaky with Cohen, he went on Fox and Friends and was like, I don't really know him.
Yeah. Trump truly hires the worst people. It just speaks to how big a piece of shit he is. Not only that he fucks up on purpose, but all of these people he chooses to work with will turn on him.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead to 2020, we have an interesting story involving Lyft, right, Andrew?
We do. But I just want to point out one more thing, actually. What is Trump going to do in 2020, the presidential election? He can't go and pay off porn stars now, and you know more women are going to come forward. What And now he doesn't have his fixer to fix things. I think scandals are going to be popping up left and right.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's pretty dangerous for there to be an excessive amount of blackmail material out in the world on the president, because anytime the president is being blackmailed, it really means that the nation is being blackmailed.
Yeah, yeah.
So this should be fun.
I also
So
just think he's banking on the fact that nobody cares, you know? Like his
Yeah.
diehard supporters just keep making excuses for why this is all okay.
right, the bar
So
just slowly
he's
gets
going to
lower.
ride that wave until it just crashes out from under him and he's got no way to come back up.
Yeah. So, like Laura said, speaking of 2020, we actually have some good news concerning Lyft, and this will actually start later this year. Lyft has announced that they will start providing either free or 50% off rides on Election Day, being this November in America. This is pretty amazing. So, Lyft has always been number 2 to Uber, but Lyft has always been regarded as the company that cares about its drivers, cares about doing good in the world. Lyft was the first to allow you to tip drivers. And that's actually something that really made me switch, because I thought that was really great that Lyft was taking the lead on that. So now Lyft is doing something else to win people over. Here's how you can get a ride for free to the voting booth. For voters in precincts that have been identified as in dire need of public transportation, Lyft will partner with organizations like Voto Latino and Urban League to identify these precincts and then offer free rides to the voting booth. And then pretty much everywhere else in the country, Lyft will be offering 50% off rides. They'll be issuing the promo codes in the days leading up to the election. In addition, they're developing a new in-app function that will tell you where your polling place is, so that if you don't know, Lyft will just take you to it. So I guess presumably you'll be able to hit a button that says, "Take me to my polling place." And it'll know that based on your, I guess, current location. So this is really great, because we have spoken in the past about how one of the biggest issues hurting turnout is that people simply can't get to their voting booths, and Lyft is helping. And maybe Uber will follow suit here. It certainly couldn't hurt them. It would only be good publicity for them, even if they are ripping off Lyft.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic, because actually one of the primary things that campaigns will ask their volunteers to do is transport people to and from polls on election day, simply because, for the most part in this country, mass transit is not well established or maintained. Living in Atlanta, I can speak to this. MARTA is not super far reaching. There's only a handful of places that you can reasonably get riding MARTA. And it's limited. Like, if I didn't have a car where I lived, I'd be fucked. And I live inside the perimeter.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes it's expensive.
Mhm.
And for low income voters, you know, it's hard to justify spending money on this stuff. I took public transit in LA last time I was out there, and I think it was like $9 for a one-way trip, because I went through like 3 zones, but the zones are super weird, and I just wouldn't judge anybody that didn't feel like they could spend that money.
Yeah. Just to go place a single vote.
Yeah. Do any of us think that we'll take advantage of this?
I guess it depends on where my polling place is. If I can't walk to it, then yes, I would definitely do this, even just to support Lyft here. I want to contribute to this program.
Yeah, same here. I would say this. Yeah. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Then go drinking afterwards, so you have a little program.
Yes. Go to Ladybird.
Yeah.
What else does Lyft have to gain from this? Is it just good publicity? Do they want Democrats in office?
I mean, if you look at the primary demographics of who use any kind of ride sharing service like this, plus the people who work like as drivers, they would tend to be more progressive leaning individuals. So I would think on an individual level, there would be a motivation to get out the vote. But I also think that a lot of it does come down to the good publicity
Mhm.
they're going to get. Now, I don't know if they're banking on I don't know if this would even be legal, but getting any kind of kickbacks from campaigns
Oh,
to be like, hey, we will help subsidize you getting people to the polls if you offer this deal. I'm not sure if there would actually be anything illegal about that because campaigns are already having their volunteers do that anyway.
that's true.
So this kind of seems like a win-win. I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah. It also is that kind of brings up a good point because we see how foreign nations, Mariana's home of Russia, are trying to influence the election. But here's a great example of a tech company influencing it in a good way, just turning out people to vote. So
Yeah. I mean, in Mariana's defense, it's the Russian government.
that's
Thank you,
true.
Laura.
I apologize for speaking about your entire nation that way.
It's all good.
This is it does encourage me to support Lyft more. I think I will take a drunken ride home in one of their cars and maybe throw up in it to say thanks.
Oh, and
Will
have to
they
pay
charge you
$200.
$100?
Oh, I forgot about that. I'll use your account, Pam.
Maybe it's cheaper.
All right.
Fif-
Move on.
Oh, sorry. Were you saying?
Okay. No, I just let's move on.
Oh, okay. Before we move on, we have another update from one of our sponsors, BioClarity. This is a green, gentle skincare line that helps me get naturally glowing skin that is 100% vegan, gluten, and hashtag cruelty free. My skin has seriously never been better, and I'm happy to report that I was able to retire a concealer, which I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and I have not needed to continue using it. So the results have lasted thanks to BioClarity reducing redness in my skin, which is fantastic. The BioClarity Essentials routine for normal or dry skin is an easy 3-step routine. Just cleanse, restore, and hydrate. The routine contains nourishing plant extracts like chamomile, green tea, cucumber, licorice root, oat kernel, plus Floralux, which is derived from chlorophyll. BioClarity helps fight breakouts, soothe skin, minimize redness, reduce pore size, and even out skin tone. After using the Essentials routine for a couple of weeks, someone asked me, I shit you not, if I was a high school senior.
Oh.
I am not making this shit up, guys. As always, and I can't say this enough, my favorite part of this routine is the hydrate step. This lightweight, non-greasy moisturizer is perfect for reducing redness and minimizing pore size. It is like a green smoothie for your face.
Wow.
That's because BioClarity's unique ingredient, Floralux, is a clever form of chlorophyll, and it's proven for nourishing the skin and soothing away imperfections and blemishes. Floralux has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that feed your skin from the outside in. BioClarity is delivered straight to you and is an easy-to-use 3-step skincare routine that will leave you with glowing skin. Get started on healthier habits with your skincare. Just go to bioclarity.com. Our listeners will get their first month for 50% off a routine, plus shipping is free. And it all comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee, but you need to enter our code MIL. That's bioclarity.com and enter our code MIL.
You do have really nice skin.
Thank you.
I
I
can't wait
always
to
think
see
about
this.
that when I look at your face.
Oh, I'm so flattered.
I can't wait to see you in Chicago. I need to take a good look at this face.
Ooh. Oh, you'll always get a good look at my face, babe.
Yeah, when I'm over top of you. Too far. Sorry. I apologize.
It's okay. We've been dancing this dance for years, Andrew.
Good luck transitioning out of that, Pam.
That might be a little bit illegal concerning this upcoming story.
True.
Well, I'm sure that all of us at some point remember our first job. It probably wasn't super glamorous, but teenagers are looking towards a much more glamorous source of income when it comes to summer jobs, where The Atlantic is reporting that the new trend is for teens to get paid to advertise brands' products on Instagram. So on average, teenagers who choose to use this as a form of, work or a summer job have a following of at least 1,000 people, and they can earn between $5 to $20 per photo. Now that doesn't really sound like a lot, but when you add it up, it actually amasses to about a couple $100s per month, and that's a pretty big chunk of change for somebody so young. So there are a couple of benefits to this, aside from it seeming super glamorous, of course. For one, on the teenager side, they get to work a more relaxed job. They probably don't have to clock in as many hours because it's at their own time, and they can start a lot younger, which is good if you're trying to, save money to go out with all your friends to the mall or to the movies or whatever. But on the brand side, there's obviously a lot of advantages to this as well. For one, they get to kind of spread the word amongst their target audience, and it comes off as way more organic than seeing an ad run before a YouTube video or before a television show. There are a couple of downsides as well, because brands striking these deals with teens, they're kind of doing it in private, so there's no formal contract and no enforcement to make sure everything stays well and ethical. And also, a lot of people argue that maybe it's saturating Instagram a little too much and making the app a little less enjoyable when all you're seeing are ads. So there's a lot to unpack here, but let's just kind of, I guess, start off, like, what do you guys think about this? This is kind of crazy that we're living in an age where teens can make money pimping out products to their fellow peers.
Yeah, I had to wait until I was 28 to start doing that. And do like 10 years of podcasting first. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I was shocked, and the Atlantic article has some examples of these teens who are doing this. It's part funny, but also really? Do these brands really think they'll benefit off of this? It does seem like there's this big bubble right now, in my opinion, with these brands using influencers to promote their shit. I just feel like there's a lot of money being spent here, not even with teens, but just with the Tyler Oakleys of the world.
That's so funny that you mentioned that, because I feel like almost any YouTube video I watch, save for like maybe one or two people, they're all advertising Audible like it's the newest thing to come on the market. But like podcasters have been advertising Audible for years.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Mariana, as a hustler yourself, what do you make of this?
I mean, my honestly first thought is the skills that you learn in your first few jobs. Like I started working at like 14 at my dad's office or something, and then I went into like retail and then restaurants. Those skills are invaluable, and they do not compare to taking a photo of you like using sugar bear candy or something to grow your hair. And that's just wild to me. Although not surprising, because I knew this was happening. I just didn't realize that teens were being coerced into this and making like a living out of it already. That's crazy to me. And also, I do have to mention that a lot of this money that's being spent with these brands towards social media influencers takes away from people that they put in their commercials, for instance, because a lot of commercial work is going non-union, which really fucks the union actors. And so that's a definitely a topic close to my heart.
Yeah. Well, and I think the brands enjoy doing this because the rules are probably loosey goosey. I see a couple of posts in this Atlantic article that have hashtag SP or hashtag ad, but I think they can get away with not classifying this as an ad because they're just teens. Who's gonna come after them? And they might be able to negotiate a lot lower rates with these teens because they don't know any better. $20 is $20. That sounds amazing.
I was going to say, I feel like if anything, they are taking advantage of the lower cost of labor. A wise prophet once said, "Know yourself, know your worth." And I feel like as you get older, you realize that the things that come so easily to you, those skills are skills that not a lot of people have, and it's hard to know your value and to understand that you should charge more for your experience and the things that other people can't do that you can. But when you're this young, you're just so excited that somebody's offering you something that you enjoy for free.
Yeah.
And it's such a slippery, dangerous slope.
It's also kind of creepy that the brands are talking to teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then going back to what Mariana was saying, you know, like that this is taking away jobs from union workers who, you know, make a profession out of booking commercials and stuff like that. One of the things that the Atlantic article brings up is that kids are actually turning to this as a source of income because it's becoming increasingly harder to get traditional service jobs, mainly because a lot of these companies, you know, they want to hire people that are older, 18, 21 plus, and also because the market is so oversaturated with all of us college grads who still need to, you know, supplement income other ways while we try and look for jobs that we were promised we would have after we went through, you know, 4, 6, 8 years of education.
Plus brick and mortar going away, thanks to Amazon.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's fascinating. I never would have imagined being able to do something like this. I'm very grateful that we have the opportunity on the podcast. But I will say, like, we have hard limits on this show about how many ads we can have. Sometimes I have to unfollow people on Instagram sometimes because they post way too many ads. Like, I think I was following Tom Felton for a while on Instagram, but then he was posting all these ads, and I was like, this is so stupid. You have all the money in the world, Tom Felton. You don't need these sponsored Instagram posts. Go away.
Yeah, and what's bothersome about that too is I get the impression following some of these influencers that they will hawk anything.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, here on the show, we make an effort to only speak to products that we've tried and that we're confident in. Like, we're not going to advertise something really shitty.
Right.
Right. And I see a lot of people on Instagram just like, you know, have this like organic, like, I don't know, like amulet to cure your cancer or like some weird shit that people are into. That's just like, it's not a tried and true product. And to me, I feel like when you're advertising a product, there has to be a level of trust between yourself and the consumer.
Yeah.
And also authenticity is a big one too. I mean, obviously, you know, this show runs ads, but even from a journalist perspective, we get sent things all the time in PR. Like a few months ago, HBO sent me a bottle of wine unsolicited that's from their Game of Thrones line. And that's great, but I just kind of don't feel like just because you send me something, I have to like it or I have to talk about it because there was no deal set in place, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's always like so important to me and like my brand as a writer that even like if I get invited to a screener, it's never just like completely positive. Like if I didn't like something, I'm going to tell you. And it does become harder and harder, especially on Instagram with these social media influencers, to believe that they enjoy everything that they're sent.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because in the case of Instagram, you can spend maybe 10 minutes making a post and you'll suddenly make, I don't know, depending on your following, of course, $5,000, $10,000. Like the Queer Eye guys, I think I bitched about this
about Anthony and his underwear.
Yeah, they got, well, not just underwear. He's working with Whole Foods and all these other Queer Eye guys. Look, I'm happy that they get sponsored posts, but can you turn it down a little bit? We don't need so many of these posts. But you're so right about not letting your opinion get influenced based on receiving free stuff. That's very important to me too, and anybody that I work with. I want people to be honest on Hypeable. Like I went down to Universal for that new hotel, and the trip was covered, but I still shared some aspects of the hotel that I thought were poorly thought through. And I still sent it to the publicist, and she still loved it because that's what's expected. Honesty. They if you're working with anyone who is going to give you, who expects blind rave reviews, then you're not working with the right people.
Are these kids paying taxes?
This is my question too, as a self-employed individual.
I bet they're not. I bet some of these parents might be encouraging them, but I bet others are just like, we'll just let this fly under the table.
But I also know, and I can't give you guys specific numbers, but there's like a certain amount that you can make if you're underage that you don't have to disclose. So as long as they're not making like thousands upon thousands of dollars, then I think they're okay. If it's a couple hundred, like the IRS isn't going to come after them.
Yeah, I think if you're making under $600, you get 1099
Right.
and you don't actually owe any tax on that. But it's interesting because it's like, okay, well, if you're making $200 here and $200 there, and it's all from separate companies, like at that point, are you technically liable or is anybody looking? Like to me, this kind of reminds me of like the Wild West days of the internet back when we were all a little bit younger.
Yep.
Yeah, and there was definitely like PayPal back when we were teenagers was not monitored by the IRS, and
Right.
it is now. So there was a time where you could get paid in PayPal and nobody would be any the wiser.
Yeah, it wouldn't be tracked.
Yeah.
You could get away with so much shit.
Yeah. Or like you were supposed to pay taxes on Amazon purchases after.
Oh yeah. Who the
And
fuck
nobody
was doing
was
that?
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to report that yourself.
Yeah. It's like nobody's
no.
gonna report that.
Yeah. It's just like, and I guess I'll admit to doing this. If you win money at the casino, you're supposed to report it on your tax returns. Am I reporting that shit? Fuck
Depends
no.
on how much money you win though, because like my great grandma before she died, she won a lot of money.
And in
we
that
had
case,
to report it.
well, and in that case, I think the casino comes up to you and is like, hey.
Yes, they did not let her leave until they filed paperwork. Like that's how much money she won. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just mention something about PayPal now that it's been brought up?
Yes.
I recently had a terrible customer service experience where like they were just impossible to reach. And one of their ways that they're supporting people now is Facebook Message. So I was waiting for maybe 24 hours, maybe a little more for them to get back to me via Facebook Message. And in the middle of the night, I got a message from PayPal Assistances and I was really excited because I was like finally getting support. And it turned out to be a scammer. And we only realized this because they pretended to be PayPal. And in my like tired state, I totally believed them, connected them to my mom, who I was trying to get like a payment back to. They ended up, my poor mother is like this Russian immigrant who doesn't use technology that well. They ended up getting her like bank details and making fraudulent purchases on her card for like over $1,000 just the other day. Like, this is the crazy thing. Just the other day, this happened. And I reached out to PayPal and was like, guys, do you realize that Facebook Messenger is probably not the best way to get in contact with people? This is really not secure. And yes, obviously, this is a great example of that. And they're just not going to do anything about it. And that was mind blowing to me. And I'm really glad I had the chance to share with the world now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had no idea that they were conducting their support over Facebook Messenger these days. That seems like a terrible idea.
Yep.
Yeah. I've heard lots of bad stories about PayPal. I haven't personally had many big issues, but they own Venmo, which I absolutely love. But I also kind of feel guilty recommending Venmo to people because it's owned by PayPal. But Venmo's just so easy and everybody's on it. It's a great way to send money to people.
My financial advisor guy, Dad, aka Dad, every day of my life when I try to use Venmo, he's like, Mariana, don't use that. That is not good. Just take cash, you know?
Damn.
And I in a way I get it. Like, as much as I love Venmo as well, I'm like, yeah, anything could happen if your information is just online for everybody to see.
One last point about the Instagramming teens making money. I have to think the companies are making them fill out tax forms, especially if they are hitting that $600 threshold, because they gotta explain where their money is being spent. So
that's a good point. And they're like, just like really quickly, these are like big companies too. I was shocked just looking at some of the posts. Like, I thought it was going to be, smaller indie brands and stuff, but there's like big makeup companies that Sephora carries
Mm-hmm.
that are shelling out money to these kids. Like, clearly I'm in the wrong profession. I should just be.
I would happily make sponsored posts for Fenty Beauty. So Rihanna,
right?
hit me up.
Actually, I know a copy editor for Fenty Beauty. Maybe I should reach out on behalf of both of us.
Oh my God, yes.
How about some millennial ads? Forget your personal Instagram posts. Look out for all of us.
Do Laura and I get free makeup?
Yeah, there you go. And
Okay, perfect.
you can have more than my cut.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay, one more story today, and we're going to make this one of our number segments to educate our audience. You may have heard about the shooting that took place in Jacksonville, Florida on Sunday. It happened at a Madden, that's the video game, tournament. It was actually, in a sign of our day and age, it was captured live on Twitch because the tournament was being live streamed. The shooter, was a 24-year-old gamer from Baltimore. He had come down to actually compete in this tournament. He lost. We don't know if that was the motive just yet. The details are still early. But he did fire quite a few bullets into the venue. In addition to the 2 people that died, he also died. He killed himself. And 9 other people suffered gunshot wounds. And 2 others were injured fleeing the area. So very sad, and just another reminder that you can't be anywhere without running the risk of getting shot in America.
I gotta tell you, those video games are just so dangerous.
Yeah, let's pray that the right does not bring it up this time, because it is a football video game. It is not one of these shooters. It's not Grand Theft. It wasn't a Grand Theft Auto tournament.
Oh, well, you just completely disassembled their favorite talking point, Andrew. What are they going to do now?
Well, I just used a little bit of sense to make it, so maybe they can pick some of that up as well.
Well, on this show, we've talked about the need to address gun violence a lot. So you probably already know everything that we would already say about this. So we decided that we're going to let the numbers speak for us by playing a round of the number. And Mariana, I'm really glad that you're here with us today, because it gives us an opportunity to re-explain the rules of this game for anyone listening at home who may not remember. So this is the game where we present facts and statistics, but we leave the numbers out of those facts, and we make everyone on the panel guess what the answers are. Does this sound good to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. For the first one, United States citizens own half of the world's guns, even though the United States only makes up what % of the world's population?
Ooh, a world population question. 7%.
Oh, there's no options like A, B, or C?
Nope.
Damn it.
I think it's lower than that. I feel like we're like 3%.
I'm going to go with 5.
All right, Pam, you were the closest. It's 4.4%. Oh, actually, Mariana was closest. 4.4%.
Okay.
Okay.
So half of the world's guns, but we only make up 4.4% of the world population. All right, next one. For every 1 million people, the U.S. experiences 30 gun-related homicides per year. The next closest country to us is Switzerland, with how many gun-related homicides per year?
10.
14.
1.
Mariana, again, you were the closest. 8.
Wow. Doing really great in life.
Can you imagine, like, 8
That's crazy.
Per million?
I've always wanted to move
per
to
million? Yeah,
Switzerland.
exactly.
That is insane.
Ugh. All right, next one. Since the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in 2012, wherein 20 children and 6 adults were murdered, the U.S. has experienced how many mass shootings?
540. Because isn't mass shootings characterized as like 3 or more?
Mm-hmm.
2 or more? Okay.
Oh, then it has to be more than that.
Duh.
God. Is it like 1,200?
Oh, I'm going to go with the middle one. I'm going to go with 900.
All right, Pam, you won this one. The answer is 1,600.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We gave our country more credit than it deserved.
Oh.
Yeah. You were thinking that we were a little more sane than we actually are.
No,
Yeah.
Because if it's
Sorry.
only 3 or more, that's literally. I feel like mass shooting is a term that we feel like it means more casualties than it is. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Right.
Right. All right, the next one. The United States is home to what % of the world's mass shooters?
Ah, this is going to be a scary number. I'm going to say 92%.
I'm going to say 65.
I'm going to say 80.
All right. The number is 31%.
Oh, fuck.
However, I will observe this figure compares the US to all countries, not just developed ones.
Okay.
So most statistics for this only compare the US to other developed ones like the UK, Australia, most of Europe, things like that. This is comparing us to the entire world. When you think about the fact that there are several countries on this planet that are practically active war zones, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
31%. All right, and the last one, on average, gun homicide rates are how many times higher in the US than in other countries with similar income and education levels?
7 times.
10 times.
Oh God, I don't know. I'll go lower. I'll say 5 times.
All right, Mariana, you were the closest. It's 25 times higher.
Oh my God.
All right. Beginner's luck. Look at you. Good job.
Yeah.
Truly beginner's luck.
You got this. We're going to have to call you the next time we play the number.
I'll be here.
This is great. We can just use the number to lighten the discussions around horrific events that happen in this country.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's almost time for Surprise Bitch, but first it's time for a word from one of our sponsors, ZipRecruiter. Hiring is challenging. I know this. It can be a struggle to find the right person to hire at Hypable, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. That place is ZipRecruiter.com/millennial. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then ZipRecruiter puts its smart matching technology to work, actively notifying qualified candidates about your job within minutes of posting so you receive the best possible matches. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you. It will find them. So it's nice and easy. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And with results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. Right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address. It is ZipRecruiter.com/millennial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/MILLENNLIAL. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/millennial. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. Okay, to wrap up the show today, it's time for
Surprise, bitch!
And today we're going to call Catherine in New Orleans. Oh, shit.
Hello.
Oh, my God, Catherine, you picked up so quick.
Oh my God.
Surprise, it's Millennial. How are you?
Oh my God. I'm great. I was just listening to you guys.
Oh, no wonder you picked up so quick.
I was like, unknown number. Who could it be?
What creep is calling me from an unknown number?
I know. How weird.
Yeah. You live in New Orleans?
I do. I live right outside of New Orleans.
Cool. What is that like?
It's fun. I've lived here all my life, so when people talk about Mardi Gras and crazy and boobs, and I'm like, nah, that's a regular Friday for me, regular Tuesday.
Did you say and booze or and boobs?
Well, I guess both applies.
Yeah. I seriously believe that New Orleans is the craziest city in this country. I used to think that was Vegas, but then I went to New Orleans and oh my God, shit show on Bourbon Street.
See, I never really thought that, and I've been to Bourbon quite a few times, but most recently I went a couple of weeks ago, and it's the first time that I've ever seen someone flash for beads. Like, I've never seen boobs before that. Like, at least not, right up and close for some plastic beads. Like, it's not even Mardi Gras season. That's so annoying. Tourists.
Tourists. You got to do it, though. It's just one of the things you got to do. TripAdvisor. It's the number one thing to do down there. Flash your boobs for beads.
I mean, you could also just, get them for free. They're really cheap.
Uh-huh. The food scene down there is also really fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I love the food here. I hate leaving and being like, ugh. It's just not as good.
Yeah.
Not as seasoned. And there's no sweet tea like in the north, so that's not fun.
Right.
Oh.
That's a problem that myself as a Southerner, when I lived in New York, I encountered frequently. Anytime I went somewhere that purported to be like a Southern soul food place or that did barbecue, the sweet tea was wrong every fucking time.
Exactly. Every time.
I like how you don't say tasted bad or incorrect. The sweet tea was just wrong.
Yes, because there's a preparation method. You can't just put sugar in it. Like, there's a whole thing that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Since New Orleans is big for tourists, can you give our listeners a recommendation? Like, if they were to go down there, where would you recommend that maybe is off the beaten path? Like maybe a great place to eat or drink?
I would just say, just know that New Orleans isn't just Bourbon Street, It's not just the French Quarter. Like, there is so much other stuff. If you go to, the smaller cities outside of New Orleans, like Metairie and Kenner, you'll find a bunch of, different Mexican places, a bunch of different, tourist attractions that a lot of people don't know about. Like, my favorite Mexican restaurant, and I will swear till the day I die, is Tacos El Gordo. It's in Kenner on Williams, and they have the most authentic Mexican food I have ever had in my life. And you wouldn't know that if you didn't leave New Orleans.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Awesome.
I might be going there here, so I'll have to try it.
Oh my gosh, so good. They make in-house guacamole and chips. Orgasmic. Just
that's fantastic.
Amazing.
What have you been up to down there recently? What do you do?
Well, I'm currently a teaching assistant, which is fun. But actually, I was really excited when Mariana was on the show because I actually recently graduated from LSU with a theater degree.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, another actress. That's so cool to hear from.
Yeah. So you got some acting aspirations. And New Orleans, actually, they film down there in Louisiana.
They do. They do a lot of filming down here. And just the theater community in general is pretty big down here that a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, that's kind of what I do at night. And I work at a elementary school during the day.
Cool. Good for you.
A few words of advice since you're in Louisiana. Don't feel I feel free to reach out to Atlanta agents and still pursue auditioning here once you're ready, because mostly everything is self-tape, and you can, if you have the ability to drive over to Atlanta for a shoot day or for a callback, then you should.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
And thanks for following me on Instagram. That's so nice.
I did. As soon I'm personally I have an Instagram following that I'm trying to build currently. Another thing I'll talk about, influencers and stuff. Yeah. Your girl's got to get some money, you got to make money somehow. And I've gotten a few dollars here and there, but
yeah, cool.
So yeah.
Well, and if that doesn't work out, you can apparently make posts on Instagram for $5 to $20.
hell, why not? You know, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all about it.
That's what we all should do. We should be going to these brands and being like, hey, I'll do it for $3. Just undercut the teens. I'll take $3.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those younger kids stealing our jobs.
Steal them back with even lower wages.
And then the Gen Z kids are going to feel about us much in the way that we feel about baby boomers.
Exactly. It's full circle.
Yeah. Well, Catherine, it was nice speaking to you. Thanks for your longtime support. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you
guys
for
calling
answering the
so much.
phone.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yay.
And
I
so
got a positive.
All right.
Yay.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, she was sweet.
Yeah, Mariana, every time we do this segment, we usually have to call like 4 or 5 people because nobody answers their phone.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
getting the first person to pick up like that quickly is like a miracle. You're our good luck charm.
Yeah. We're now on the show was very long today, but we're actually back on schedule thanks to how quick that surprise bitch call went.
Yes.
Awesome.
If you want to be in the running for surprise bitch, you can support us over at patreon.com/millennial. It's it is what keeps the lights on here. We've spoken about creators today and that side hustle. This is how we do it. Again, patreon.com/millennial. You'll get access to being able to co-host the show, being in the running for surprise bitch, bonus audio, the Landy show, ad-free millennial, after dark, hashing it out. Today's hashing it out almost felt like an episode of the show, so much so that Mariana thought that we were already recording.
You guys are just so personable on the phone.
Oh my gosh, I'm blushing.
We got good chemistry. Coming up in After Dark today, we're going to do a couple of WTF news stories, and we're going to talk about how tech is affecting not only our friendships, but our relationships. We've talked about how it has impacted our lives in regards to things like online dating, but not so much about how it affects our interpersonal relationships. So we will talk about that and maybe some drama that's been going on in the relationships. We'll see. To close us out today, not a song, but some dialogue from John McCain. This is one of McCain's best moments when he was competing against Obama in the 2008 election. One of McCain's supporters tried to call Obama an Arab, and McCain stopped her in her tracks. And that was one of his best moments and an important thing to hear in this day and age. So we'll play that in a second. Mariana, thanks for joining us. It was great having you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Laura,
you were fantastic.
Laura, you pick good friends.
I know. Thanks. I'm so glad that you approve too.
Yeah.
Another
Maybe-
one on the checklist.
When you come up here, maybe you can find some friends for me because I still don't have friends, and I guess I just need somebody to hire them for me.
Oh my God, can that be my job?
Yeah, I'll pay you $3 per friend.
I can just be a professional friend networker.
Friend consultant. Was it you who said this to me recently-ish? You're like, well, we do have friends. They're just all online. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I feel like easily 60% of my friends live in the internet.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'm Andrew.
I'm Laura.
I'm Pamela.
I'm Mariana. For now.
For now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
I just now look. I
got to ask you a question. I do not believe in. I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's not. He's a. He's an Arab. He is not. No.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
Fucking woman.
He's an Arab.
The only thing that I hate about that is I feel like he should have been like, well, Arabs can also be decent family men who care about this country. Like, just the whole like, no, he's not. He's a decent man. I'm like, oh, come on, John McCain.
Well, and he
Like
said of this country, didn't he?
He
Yeah,
only
but
had a little bit of time. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Come on.
Yeah, I know.
But I understand what you're getting at too, because there's so much toxicity in this country for people that are different from us. And it's just unfortunate that there are so many people out there like this woman who believe that just because somebody comes from somewhere else, they're not to be trusted.
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking in the moment, he didn't see that coming. So,
yeah.
All right. We're going to jump straight into After Dark. You still good to record, Mariana?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. I said, here we go. Why isn't it playing? This is After Dark for 433. Mariana is still here with us. We have a couple of WTF news stories to kick off the show, and then we'll talk about tech and friendships and relationships and how it may be affecting those things. So, let's start with a story that makes me think of Beyonce. A Southern California man has been arrested for hiding 800 pounds of stolen lemons inside of his car. Riverside County Sheriff's officials say that 69-year-old Dionisio Ferros was arrested on a charge of theft of agricultural products. Deputies were investigating recent farm thefts when they stopped Ferros' car in Thermal on Friday morning. It's Thermal, California. Inside his car, deputies say they found several large bags of freshly picked lemons they say were stolen from a nearby farm. Officials are not certain why the suspect needed so many lemons. He wasn't selling them and have declined to speculate. So that's the first thing you would have assumed. He was trying to sell them. You frequently see in any city people selling fresh fruit on the side of the road. Maybe he was going to do something like that.
Or, maybe he was just going to chuck them at people. Like, when life gives you lemons, just throw it.
Eat it. I was thinking maybe, I'm sorry to immediately make this graphic, but maybe he wants to fuck the lemons.
What?
But why would you need 800 pounds of them?
Because he's a horny dude. He wants to get off frequently.
Wait, how would one fuck a lemon?
Laura, I'm glad you asked that. There is a recent film, Call Me By Your Name, and the guy fucks a peach.
Yeah, but this is like a citrus fruit.
Yeah, it's going to be like acidic. It's going to sting. Yeah.
Well, I'll test this for you guys, and I'll get back to you next week to see if that actually does sting.
Okay, just be sure to video it and put it on the Patreon.
Doing it while playing The Sims.
That's right, $50 level.
Yeah, I mean, so my mind jumped to having sex with the lemon. Maybe he likes the buzz. Maybe it gives him an extra pleasure. But you can blame Call Me By Your Name for that theory. I don't know what else you could do with them. Maybe he just wants to make maybe he just wants to make lemonade
and open the best lemonade stand.
Yeah. Dionisio's lemonade stand. Stolen fresh from local farms. All right, here's another story. This made a lot of headlines. Last week, a New York City woman used Tinder to prank more than 100 men into showing up for a date that turned out to be a Hunger Games style competition. 25-year-old Natasha Aponte, an aspiring singer, invited dozens of Tinder contacts to meet her in Manhattan's Union Square on Sunday for what they thought was a one-on-one date. They showed up to find a stage, a DJ, and a large sound system set up. When Natasha finally appeared, she did so on stage. The DJ stopped playing, and she announced that she had invited the men there to compete for a date with her. Reports suggest that roughly half the crowd immediately left, but the other half stayed. She disqualified the men who were under 5'10" and those named Jimmy, a name she said she dislikes. Then she asked the remaining contestants to perform push-ups, foot races, and other things that showed off their physical prowess. Ladies, is this a great idea?
Sounds like a great idea as a publicity stunt to go viral and build her music career.
Yeah. I immediately thought she was like a YouTuber or something.
There was a really great thread on Twitter of one of the guys who got conned into doing this. I don't know if you guys read it.
Was it like an AMA?
No, he posted it as a thread, like as it was happening.
Oh.
And he's like, there's one where he's like, when she announced there, like that all the dudes were guys she met on Tinder, he tweeted, every man in the crowd looks down and mimes, what in the name of Scooby-Doo is this shit to themselves? But he was one of the guys who left. He was like, no, fuck this.
I would be one of the guys who left as well.
Right.
Tinder is not a game. Not to me, anyway. I go on there looking for a serious relationship. I'm not going to compete with 100 other guys. How about?
I feel like, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like I have to share this really quick Tinder story. I met my current boyfriend on a Tinder date with somebody else, meaning like I was on my first Tinder date ever, and then a year later we ended. I met him because he was a door guy at the bar on my Tinder date, and we ended up meeting up like 10 months later, and now we've been together for 3 years, and now he just moved to Atlanta from LA. Tinder, I love Tinder.
Do you?
Well, only for that reason. I was only on it for a week.
Yeah. That's really funny. And that's one of those beautiful stories that you can take with you forever.
It could be a movie that I film to further boost my career.
There you go. That's an original plot.
Yeah.
If book club can take off, that one can.
Oh, 100%.
How about you three, though? If you were pranked into this, would you stick around or
fuck no?
No way.
No way.
Yeah,
I have better
really
things to do.
Yeah. I'm really surprised half the crowd even stayed. I would have thought more would have left.
But
Was
also,
she that
like, I know that was my question too. Or are they just that desperate?
Maybe a little of both.
Or maybe they thought they would get their 15 minutes of fame too.
Yeah.
Was she filming it?
It was filmed by Rob Bliss, the man who shot a widely watched catcalling video in 2004. This was brilliant. Do you remember this video? So it's a video of an attractive woman walking down a New York City street for 10. It's a highlight reel of 10 hours.
I do remember this video.
And
Yeah.
it's filming her from the front, so you can see the guys as they pass her. And all these guys turn around and check out her ass and catcall her and stuff like that. It really opens your eyes up to just how bad you women have it.
Thank you for acknowledging that, Andrew.
You're welcome. I mean, even walking out on the street today, I see guys, turning over their shoulders to look, and I'm like, oh my God, that's just so creepy. And they don't even try to hide it.
It's really sad how you learn to ignore it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta admit though, when I see an attractive woman, I want to stare. Is that weird?
Are you doing anything after that?
It's human and natural to want to look at somebody who's aesthetically pleasing, right? Like, I don't think the issue comes with people looking at each other. It's when the look goes on a little too long, or there's an attempt to initiate contact with somebody who's, going about their day, trying to get their shit done and not trying to get hit on while they walk to the grocery store or to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, my job is not to make conversation with you if I don't want to. So if you want to say hi and I don't smile back, it's like, that doesn't mean I'm a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that I don't want to talk to you. And that's where the problem lies.
Yeah. And I try not to look because I know that they're thinking that I'm one of those guys. And yet I still have this compulsion to look.
You know what you should do, Andrew? Next time you look, just when they make eye contact, be like, "I'm gay."
Yeah,
gay.
just like,
Don't
don't worry, I'm gay.
Don't worry.
Or just roll with dark sunglasses.
Yeah,
When
I
they
do.
can't tell that you're looking.
So given that this was videotaped by this Rob Bliss guy who obviously made an impact with his catcalling video, I guess he's trying to do another another social statement with this next video. So
100%.
I assume it'll end up on YouTube.
Everything ends up on YouTube these days.
Yeah. So kind of speaking of relationships and Tinder, we want to talk about technology and how that's been impacting our time with others. And it's an important question, whether or not you're in a relationship. We're going to talk about the friendship angle and the relationship angle. Let's start with relationships because tech can be a big part of our bonding time. Let's talk about video games, Laura. We've both been very vocal on this show about how we spend time playing video games. I recently spoke about Overcooked, which is a great co-op game, and my boyfriend and I love playing that. Do you two play co-op games to kind of bond?
Yeah, definitely. We've played Overcooked. The Lego games are always great for that kind of bonding because it's like very low stakes, kind of like Overcooked is.
I'm really mad to say that.
Oh, really?
Because Pat loves the Lego Harry Potter games and he tried to get me into them, and I'm just so fucking bored. I was like, all we're doing is collecting coins. I don't care.
And building shit out of Legos.
We haven't done that part yet.
What?
Well, I guess we have with the spells. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
that's like half the game
That's boring.
is putting together Legos into objects that you can use to further yourself in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we do that. We also like to watch each other play games.
Yes.
Especially story-oriented games. So like when I was playing through Detroit, he was watching me play that. Now I'm watching him play it because as I said in a previous episode, I think it's like the choices that you make in that game say a lot about you as a person. So I am making notes as he plays through. I also like to watch him play fighting games because that is an arena of gaming that I have not really gotten into yet, and I still don't entirely understand. But I am learning, so I'm trying to, get better at Smash, and
Yeah.
he's also really into like Dragon Ball Fighters. And that's a game that I tried playing with it a little bit. It totally sucks. So I just mainly ask questions about it. So it's just a good opportunity for us to bond and ask questions about the things the other one's doing.
Yeah, I agree with you here. And it's also, I just realized, like a cheap way to spend a lot of time with somebody else. Because most of these games, you pay $50 once and you have 50 hours of entertainment suddenly. And the reason we want to talk about this is because technology, video games aside, can also hurt. And it can sometimes get really bad. I think we're both in agreement about video games hurting. And everybody feel free to jump in here. But do we have issues, relationship or friendship wise, where we have to stop getting our partner or our friend from stop them from checking their phone so much while out on dates or just out at a movie or stuff like that?
I'm guilty of this. So it's not that I have to stop Mark, it's that he has to stop me.
Mm.
And it's
Why?
because when I'm engrossed in something on my phone, like be it a text message conversation or reading a news story, it's really difficult for me to pay full attention to the conversation that's happening around me.
Mhm.
And there have been times, and he's told me, he'll call me out when I do it, but he'll be trying to tell me something and I'll be in my phone, like doing whatever. And I'm like listening to him, but I'm only half listening. And then he'll stop, he'll make his point, and he'll just sit there and wait. And then like 10 seconds will go by, and then I'll go, yeah. And he's like, that's not a response to what I just said.
Yeah.
So that's been an area where I've been personally trying to make improvements because I don't like it when other people do that to me. So
Yeah.
trying to get better about doing that to other people.
Does he accuse you explicitly of just spending too much time on your phone in general?
No. No, I think he's more pointing out that I need to either get better at multitasking when I'm on my phone, or I just need to learn when it's, the right time to put the phone down.
Yeah. I've been accused in both friendship and relationship regard of spending too much time on my phone. Pat actually thought recently that I do spend too much time, but I really don't think I do. And now I feel guilty every time I pick up my phone. I'm definitely more self-aware now of it because I don't want to be addicted to my phone. And that's why I can't wait for this new screen time feature in iOS 12 because I want to see just how active I really am.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I've definitely been guilty of this too, so don't feel bad, either of
Yeah.
you. Specifically back, I think before I mean, honestly, my work life balance is still really fucked up. I probably work way more than I should, but it was way worse back when I was at university than it is now. And at the time, kind of towards the end of my time there, when I was really in the thick of everything, like interning and also working on the school paper and also like writing stuff online, I was dating this guy and it was like a really big problem because he was not into social media at all and still had like a super old school flip phone because he was very like, simplifying his life and stuff like that. And at the time I just thought like, why don't you understand that like I'm working, and that involves my phone, which I can take anywhere because it's a mini computer.
Right.
And it wasn't until, later that I realized that it's like, I don't have to work all the time, or I could have made more of an effort not to work when we were out. So ever since then, I've really made a conscious effort to, when I'm out with friends and stuff like that, specifically, I'm catching up. If I'm on a date, like I will not take my phone out at all unless it's like, oh, like, can I see pictures of your dog or something?
Right.
But if I absolutely need to have my phone out, it's like still in the middle of the workday, I'll leave it like do not disturb face down on the counter. And then as soon as like the call comes through that I'm looking for or waiting for, I'll just like put it away. And that's really helped, but it also makes me hyper aware of the fact that I think almost all of my friends can't be in a social situation without having their phones like in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really awkward.
Yeah. It's you have to be very aware of what you're doing. We're all just so used to picking up our phones and not even thinking about it that it just becomes second nature. Like you pick up your phone like you're drawing a breath. But
I feel like it's also kind of like a filler.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the conversation dwindles, if you're in a group social setting and everyone kind of gets quiet.
Oh yeah.
The number one thing everyone does, just all reach for your phones.
Yep.
And just start fucking around on it. Got to look like you're doing something.
It's worse when that happens in your one-on-one though, because as I said, behind the scenes, like that has definitely happened to me before. And it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to want to make conversation with you when you're more invested in like whatever you're doing on your phone than talking to me.
Yeah.
So,
Mariana, has this ever happened to you?
I mean, you guys all touched upon something I've experienced in the last 5. Well, let's just start here. I've had Facebook since I was 16, and I feel like the obsession with that kind of stuff happened then or began then, and then it turned into just checking Facebook on your phone, even though nothing's really coming in. And then it turned into like an Instagram thing where I recently got rid of Instagram for a week, and I noticed how many times I just picked up my phone just to open the Instagram app, but nothing else. So having taken that away, I had nothing else to do on my phone because nobody texted me, nobody called me. And I just found myself feeling stupid. Like, oh my gosh, this is really like a really fucked up obsession and you need to work on this. So I've recently started putting my phone to charge out in the kitchen overnight. So I know going to bed, I like don't go on my phone, read an actual book on like paper. And that's helped a lot. But
It's a smart idea.
yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I had one of those apps that did tell you how many hours you spend on what looking at your screen, and then one day it was 7 hours, and I couldn't believe, that just blew my mind.
That's intense. That's a work day.
Yeah, and it's all cumulative of like 1 minute here and 2 minutes there, and going through your Instagram feed for no apparent reason, and it's scary.
I think this is the year where we really do start to take notice of our digital health. It started with Apple and Google introducing these new features that'll tell us how much time we're spending. But so Google's is now out, but ahead of iOS introducing this, Instagram and YouTube are now telling us how much time we are spending in these apps. They're doing it themselves within their own apps because I think they're afraid of what people are going to be discovering in iOS 12 screen time. Instagram has already started rolling this out. I just saw YouTube announce it the other day. And then Instagram also added that new feature a couple months ago when it tells you you're all caught up in your feed. They want you using Instagram less because they already know we're using it too much. I was shocked when they added that new "you're all caught up" feature because they want us spending more time in their app. More time in their app means more ads they can shove in front of our faces. So I think they're scared of what screen time is going to show. And between screen time and then the built-in features that Instagram and YouTube have introduced, and surely other apps are going to follow, I think we're all becoming more aware of how much time we're using, and we are going to tone it down because we all know it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's just so funny how like the hip new thing of, late 2018, early 2019 is going to be using your technology less.
Yeah, who would have thought? It used to be being a nerd was lame. Then it became like kind of cool. Then it got very cool. And once again, now it's not lame or cool. It's just unhealthy.
It's kind of also like, I know that you wanted to talk about like choosing vacation destinations based on tech stuff, but I know that like a lot of it's like really cool for young people to choose vacation destinations based on whether or not it's an Instagrammable event, and I think that like the biggest thing that I've learned how to do is not necessarily capture everything, like put the phone away and like mentally absorb, but also like not forget that it's okay also to take fun pictures or update people that are following along. And finding that balance is something that you have to find for yourself. But I think once you find a good balance, it makes you feel a lot better about having experiences where you're present in the moment, but also memories that you can save forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm going on vacation somewhere that I actually really want to go, I don't care about accessibility to Wi-Fi and cell signal as much. If I'm going somewhere that I don't really want to go, or like I'm being dragged along to something, then definitely I want Wi-Fi because I want something to do.
Right. That's a good way to consider.
Yeah, like it's really hard for me to take beach vacations. I can't do that because I can't sit still on a beach for more than a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
I need my mind to be mentally stimulated. So if I'm there, I'm with you. Like I definitely want access to something that I can read or,
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Mariana? Oh, no, I was just making a joke. Like, how often are you doing stuff against your will, Laura? How often are you getting recommendations you don't want to go to?
I guess this is bad. I guess like when I'm, forced to go to like family events.
We were just talking about the passing of time and the importance of family. And here you go, Laura.
Yeah. Or like, because I have a lot of family in Central Florida, which is like no offense to anyone who lives in Central Florida. I was born there. I grew up there. I don't like it. I find it to be very boring unless I'm at Universal Studios.
Or Disney. Come on.
Eh,
Oh, interesting.
not really a big Disney person.
Huh. Yeah, you
I'm
do
not
lack
either.
joy, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I hate joy.
And you know where I struggle in my day-to-day life is just walking Brooklyn. I just have this impulse to take my phone out. And I do it, but I hate myself when I do it. And then I try not to do it. But like I said, it's just like breathing. I just do it without thinking. It's a curse. And I want to have these little segments during the day where I'm not on my phone. I'm explicitly away from the internet. But even then, I feel like I can't escape it. Maybe I should just not take my phone out on the walk. I just answered my own question.
Yeah, but what if like a murderer comes?
Yeah, that's a good
He'll
point.
try to steal his phone and he won't have it.
And then he'll just murder you.
Right. Give me your phone. I don't have it. Give me your Apple Watch. No, fine. I don't like it that much anyway.
Or maybe you should just like try walking him different places that would make you want to look up instead of down.
I mean, I'm walking along a lake a couple times a day. If I can't enjoy that, I've got something wrong with me.
It's okay. We're all a little dead inside, Andrew.
Yeah, it's true. I meant to bring this up during the Jacksonville shooting story we were talking about. I miss walking outside and not thinking, oh, there's like a chance I could be shot.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days.
Sometimes when I'm like running at the park, I think to myself, like, what if somebody just like jumps out of the bushes and drags me in, and then I just never resurface, and that's it.
I just saw an article the other day about how dangerous it is for women to run outside.
Yeah. I think about this all the time.
Do you bring like pepper spray or something with you?
No, because I like to pack light. Like, if I can, I should not be admitting this on like a podcast. If I can like hide the keys and not even have to bring the keys with me, I'll do it.
Oh, that's funny.
See, this further supports my point of view that, you know, I just shouldn't run outside or ever.
It's like the fastest way to get in shape, though.
I know. I do a lot of high intensity interval training in front of my TV.
That makes me throw up, though.
Where it's safe.
Pam, actually, along those lines, I don't bring my wallet into the gym. I leave it in my car in the in the middle compartment between the two seats.
I just don't bring my wallet. One day I'm gonna get pulled over and the cop's gonna be like, "Where's your license?" I'll be like, "It's a funny story, sir. I just didn't want to hide it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to carry it." So
that's exactly what goes through my head. The one day I don't bring it, I'm gonna get pulled over. But then I'm always wondering, like, oh God, is somebody gonna break into my car? And then I try to be discreet when I take my wallet out of my pocket and put it into the middle section because I don't want anybody to notice.
you got to do it before you leave the house.
But I just have my habits, you know.
We all have habits.
My car is like a rolling purse.
So is mine.
What's that mean?
Like
Everything's
all
in
of my worldly possessions are in it. Like pretty much all my makeup is in my car because I never wake up early enough to do my makeup before I leave for work. So I always end up like screeching into the parking lot 5 minutes before I have to be there and like quickly doing my makeup in the car.
It always looks really good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Damn, Mariana is sucking Laura's dick today.
I know. Well, today, come on, Andrew.
But those are genuinely the things that I've noticed about Laura. Her makeup always looks really good and her skin's glowing.
Oh
and I just never had the balls to say it out loud in an office setting.
Right.
No, it's not an
that,
HR
that
problem.
could bring up some like questions.
Yeah.
Damn, Laura, you're looking good today.
Yeah.
Goes
It's
HR.
okay. Mariana and I are kind of obsessed with each other.
Aw, that's
We established this yesterday when we were hanging out.
Aw, that's cute.
It was good times. It's
Mhm.
nice to have met a tortured soul like myself, but
Yep.
also that's like still living, like still outwardly our personalities are very communicative and intimate in like a intimate between people, not like a sexual thing. Just like we get along with people really well. We're very bright and cheery on the outside, but very dark on the inside.
Yes.
I
Emotionally
tell people
damaged.
this too. I'm like, I'm dead inside. You just
Yeah.
think that.
You sound like a good fit for the show, Mariana.
I'm happy to be with like-minded people.
All right. So what we learned today, everybody, please try hard to spend less time on your phone. I'm going to try to not bring my phone while walking, Brooklyn. What else did we learn?
I know that in terms of my like phone, I need to try harder not to be on it so much when I'm at work. It's really easy for me to like have a lull and be like, "Oh, let me check my phone." And then like 20 minutes will go by and I've been on the fucking thing the whole time doing
Yeah.
nothing. So I think I'm going to set a timer for myself from now on.
Mm.
Like
No,
when I
you
get on my
won't.
phone, set like a 2-minute timer. Like that's it.
Hey, Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. 2 minutes rolls by. You just hear Laura yell, "Fuck!" across the office.
Well, that's like me and my Apple Watch. Every time it tells me to stand up, I just click the dismiss button and feel bad for myself. I don't do anything.
You know, I try to listen to that, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll be on the couch and I'll just shake my arm for a minute.
Oh, it's so
Oh.
funny. I was having coffee with someone the other day, Andrew, who did that. Like we were just chatting and then he randomly starts waving his arm. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, my Apple Watch is telling me to stand up."
Like in that Netflix movie, Set It Up, where Lucy Liu, who's like the big head honcho, has her assistant move her watch around the office because she hasn't made her steps for the day that she
Yeah, right.
accomplished.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh God, this is a trend. Apple's gonna have to take care of this because we're all learning this. Like Pat will do it too when we're both sitting on the couch, and now we both do it without even looking at each other. I don't even need to look at my watch when it taps me at 10 minutes before the hour. I know what it is. Time to stand.
I do like the Breathe app. Have you tried that?
You know, I thought I was going to like that because it'll send you reminders. Don't forget to breathe. And it's like a minute of meditating, which is a very smart idea, but it just got a little too annoying for me, but maybe I'll try that again. You use it?
Well, I had my Apple Watch for about a month, so I'm not the best person to talk to about long-term goals. It's been not charged for about 4 months now, and I'm looking to come back to it. So maybe you'll come back to the Breathe app, and I'll come back to my Apple Watch in general.
Yeah. You know, I was joking earlier when I said that the robber could steal my watch. I actually really do love the Apple Watch.
It's neat, for sure.
I'm for the activity stuff mainly. I just turned on Breathe, and it gives you a lot of customizations. You can do anywhere between 1 and 10 times a day for the reminders. So I'm setting it to 2.
Nice.
We'll start low. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Mariana, thank you again. It was great having you on.
Thank you for having me on. You guys are so lovely.
Oh, this was a lot of fun. We have to do it again.
Would love to.
I learned today that I think Laura just brought you on because she needed somebody to suck up to her for 2 hours. But
I don't blame her. We all need that in our lives.
That's okay. Because
Like,
what happens
everybody
is when
needs a
we're at
hype
work, I suck up to her.
Oh.
So this is just payback.
Circle of
Oh
suck.
man, I just thought you were a nice person. Wow.
Circle of Suck. That's the name of this episode.
Isn't that like a circle jerk? Is that an appropriate?
Yeah,
I
but
need more
not
than
sexual.
2 people for that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're just talking about a 69. You two are 69.
Yeah.
Calling HR on this one.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pam, let's have your bestie on next week, and she can circle of suck you.
Michelle is #1 hype man always.
All right, we'll see everybody next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mariana, thank you again. I know it was a long recording. We appreciate your time.
It was so
It
much
was
fun.
awesome.
I
Good.
hope everything like sounded good, and I'll WeTransfer you the MP3 file and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was truly a once in a lifetime experience.
Aw.
Oh, well, hopefully not once.
Yeah.
Well, now it was my first one, so it'll forever be the
Oh.
best one in my memories.
You never forget
Okay.
your first time.
Yeah.
Millennial will always have its stamp on Mariana.
Indeed.
Never forget
indeed.
your first 69.
Oh boy.
I'm completely kidding, by the way. It wasn't. I didn't consider it.
No, it's okay. Mariana's just going to go report me to HR tomorrow.
No.
Like my
No
work friend
comments.
got me to come on her podcast and harassed me.
I have recordings of it all, y'all.
Oh God. All right. I'm gonna go take Brooklyn out onto the dark Chicago streets without my phone. So, Laura, can you edit this week and forever?
I was actually getting ready to take Canella out onto the dark Atlanta streets.
Oh, good. Are you bringing your phone though? That's the.
I don't know, Pam. How do you feel about editing? Just
She
in
already
case?
left. She bailed out.
What?
Yeah, I guess she lost her connection or something.
Damn, Pam.
Yeah, I know.
I see how it is.
All right. Yeah, Mariana, if you can send that over tonight, that'd be perfect because I edit first thing in the morning. Cool.
Will do. All right. Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
y'all. Thank you so much
You
again.
too. Thank you.
See you tomorrow, dear.